Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to talk about diets, what diet to use, what diet I've used, the worst sort of diets you can use, and just generally my experience with the different diets out there because everybody's telling you to do this diet or that diet and this is no, this is the one now and so on and so on. And for the average person, a lot of these just don't work. They're just not feasible. They don't take into consideration things like work, day-to-day stresses, your partner, your kids, your family members. Just it doesn't take into that. All it considers is, oh, you must be some sort of sports athlete and that's all you do. So therefore you can do this diet, or you must work 9 till 5 Monday to Friday, and so therefore you can do this diet. It never takes into consideration things like um, unsociable hours with shifts. So, for example, I've worked jobs whereby I might start at 7 p.m. and finish at 2 in the morning. I might start at 8 in the morning and then finish at 4 in the afternoon. It's all over the place. I had a shift the other day that was 10 in the morning, finished at 8 in the evening. So there is no consistency with shifts, and that's where I think a lot of people like myself are probably getting annoyed when they're watching all these self-help videos on YouTube and they're seeing all these great, very smart people coming up with these great diets and this is the key to fat burning. This is how you get big in 60 days. All these different things, and we're not going to go into like the gym side of things. We're just talking about diet. I'm not going to go into any of the specifics of like what each nutrient does to your body and what sugar does and none of that. I'm just going to talk plain and simple, try and keep it as short as possible and talk about what diet has worked for me, what hasn't worked for me, and my sort of journey with food, if that makes sense. So I suppose we've got to start off somewhere. I have always been a guy who eats everything, and I'll eat anything and everything put in front of me, and I'll eat it. The only thing I won't eat are things I'm allergic to. So everything else is on the table. I'll eat it. I'll give it a go. See what I like, so on and so on. Now that also means that I do my binges. The amount of days, and I can't count them on a hand because they're just too numerous, where I've sat in bed and I have demolished one tub of Ben and Jerry's in one sitting, and then I've had an energy drink just before bed, then gone to sleep, and so on and so on, and rinse and repeat that over weeks, months, years. And it's, I mean, it goes back to my finances. That's another reason why I had no money. I'm spending it all on food and not the good food. And I'm always hungry. And when you have all these things, you end up being hungry. But we'll get into that. What I then found was I was sort of going through and I was just eating more crap and more crap. And I always knew that, oh, you need to eat your veg. But I sort of, you get to an adulthood and you think, I'm an adult now. I don't have to do what my parents used to tell me, which was eat your greens, eat your veg, all that sort of stuff. I can do whatever I want. I can, if I want to eat chicken and rice and then have chocolate, 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 Ben and Jerry's, job done. I actually went through a phase where all I was doing was following these people who said all you need is calories. If you want to get big in the gym, calories is all you need. And so I just ate calories. And however that came, I just ate it. So for example, Ben and Jerry's was giving me a, a few thousand calories in one sitting. I'll have that because that's straight away, that's an easy, delicious way of getting my calories that I need to get big. Now, with all of that, there are some things that don't necessarily go to plan and sort of let you kind of forget about why you're doing it because you're enjoying it so much because it tastes lovely and so on and so on. And that is when you hit your late 20s and your 30s and you start to slow down in terms of your metabolism. If you're not going to the gym every single day, which a lot of average people are not doing because they don't have that luxury. When you're in your 20s, you can do that. You can go to the gym every single day. I went to the gym pretty much every single day, sometimes twice a day. And I'm not saying I did anything crazy. I wasn't Arnold in any way, shape, or form, but I was going to the gym and I was committing to the gym all the time because that was my hobby, my passion. So when I was eating all this stuff, you didn't really see the negative aspect of it. You didn't see the weight gain, you didn't see the fat gain or anything like that. I was just packing on calories and I was doing it, which is kind of what the YouTubers that you'll see, all the professionals, that's what they're saying to a degree. Eat all these things. Now they're more and more saying eat healthy now and eat the right stuff. But back in the day, they were just saying eat calories, get your stuff in there. Don't worry about macros and all that sort of stuff. Just get that food down you, and then go to the gym. And when you're doing that, to a degree, yes, that works. And in my experience, that has worked. You put the calories in, you get something out. But as you start to slow down, life starts to sort of catch up with you. You get into a relationship, like your serious one, not just your first girlfriend or anything like that. And you start, trying to have kids, and you start, I rent now, or I got a mortgage now, or I've got bills to pay now. You start slowing down, and the gym starts becoming sort of not top priority, but it sort of drops down a couple of priorities. And that's when you start realizing if you keep eating like you have, it catches up fast. And I mean fast. Before I'd even realised, now it didn't help that it was during COVID, so I couldn't go to the gym, but it was like a real clear and present danger sort of example that as soon as you stop going to the gym, and I was eating how I was eating, so I was having Papa John's pizzas, like the extra large ones, like not every night, but at least once a week, easily, along with other junk food and other bits and bobs, which I didn't see as junk food, I just saw it as calories and it's delicious, so on and so on. It's got meat on it, must be good. And so you're doing all that. I put on so much chub, you wouldn't believe. Like, I was chunky. Now, I've never been fat, and I don't consider myself fat, but I mean, my friends and family were calling me fat because compared to what I was, I had some considerable sort of like doughiness around my midriff, around my arms. I had no sort of vascularity anymore. You couldn't see definition. I was just a bit podgy all over, and people noticed it in my face as well. I put weight on in my face. Now, I didn't realise I was doing that, and I was getting like that until I went to the gym when the lockdown ended and stuff like that. Took some progress pictures because that's what you do when you're vain and all that sort of stuff. And I realised how chubby I was because I always hadn't seen it. Even though I see myself in the mirror all the time, I hadn't seen how bad it actually was until I actually physically went to look for it. And then I compared it to like before, where you can see my abs or you can see definition, stuff like that. Now, don't get me wrong, I was bigger at this point in terms of size, but you take your jumper off and you just look chubby, and I didn't like that at all. It wasn't for me. It looked like I'd almost given up. And some people can sort of pass for that and be happy with that, but it's, in my opinion, that's a slippery slope. If I continue down that road, I'm just going to get fatter and fatter and fatter. And that might offend some people, but it's not meant to. I'm just saying, for me, I didn't want to be like that. I want to be lean, I want to be fit and healthy, and I want to look the part. I don't want to look like I've given up on life. I might be happy, absolutely, but I don't want to look like I've given up. I want to look like I still work at it and I still put a sweat on in the gym and stuff like that. So that brought me to sort of like start dieting. Now, the first big diet that I've ever tried was actually the vegan diet. And now I think that blew up in like 2021 or something like that. I think that's when everyone went crazy. There was like a Netflix documentary saying vegans actually this, that, and the other. So I went vegan for, it must have been 3-4 months. Must have been, at least anyway, might have been more than that. And I actually really enjoyed it. And what it taught me was how important cooking your own meals and how like varied you can create a meal. Like it was brilliant. We did these HelloFresh things. They came in, you used the ingredients, you cooked with real ingredients rather than crap that you just microwave and stuff like that. And it was so tasty. Even though I had no meat in it, it was really, really tasty. And that was like an eye opener for me. Like, oh, actually, if I start learning to cook, which I could cook the basics, but nothing crazy. If I start cooking, I can make some really nice meals that are like restaurant worthy, but in my own house. So we started doing that, and I just, you know what, I went, I miss meat too much. I need my meat. I felt like I had higher energy levels, which is what the Netflix documentary was telling me. If I do this for so long, my energy levels will start rising because of X, Y, and Z. But I found that I had to take B vitamins because I was lacking in the B vitamins that you would get normally from the meat, the red meat. And so from that, I thought, okay, no, I've got energy. It's all good. It's working. But I think that was placebo. I think because I wanted it to work, because I was trying this new thing and I was impulsive in the sense of everyone was doing it, I kind of just felt what I should have been feeling according to what the news and the science was saying. And it wasn't actually that. Wasn't sleeping as well. I wasn't doing as best. I was well in the gym, etc. And as soon as I started introducing meat, I had energy levels back again. And that again, that is purely that's me thing. Somebody else might say, actually, no, I've never had so much energy on vegan diet, and if that works for them, spot on. But I'm talking about myself, busy life, working varied shifts where I don't have a set shift pattern. It's every week is a different set of shifts, and even in the week it's different shifts. Relationships, stresses, car shit, all sorts, all of that going on. This diet did not work for me, so I went back just to eating meat. And the first thing I did, which was the easiest thing to do, Papa John's, Domino's, KFC, McDonald's, all those sort of things. You start having those every week. You're having all this food again. And before you know it, yeah, I felt good in myself. I felt happy because I was eating all this nice food and eating meat again. But I was starting to feel a bit sluggish now. And it was like really sort of evident, oh, this food's actually kicking my ass now. And at this point, I'm getting close to my 30s. So I had to take a sort of a step back and go, right, I need to start looking at this. Now, in the background, my mum is going through like a finding herself sort of moment, and she's going into this YouTube rabbit hole of diet, health, all sorts of stuff. And she's following these different people. She's sending me these different videos saying you need to look at this because X, Y, and Z. We're not taking enough vitamin D. We're not doing this. And it sounds all a lot. It sounds like a lot of like witches and ghosts and stuff. It's make believe in my mind at this point. As long as you're eating a fair amount, a balanced diet to a degree, you're good. But what is a balanced diet? In 2026, especially right now, what is a balanced diet? Is that bit of chocolate, bit of this, bit of veg, bit of meat? Yeah, but doesn't necessarily work for everyone, and that's my issue. And that's now my biggest like sort of question. What is a balanced diet? So skip a few more years, and now I'm starting to eat more meat. I am just literally right. You know what? I'm gonna spend that extra bit of money, and I'm just gonna buy meat as often as I can. So I started having chicken and rice with broccoli, and that was it. And I would just have that same meal every single day. I'd put it into Tupperware, make it. I'd have 6 or 7 boxes, and this is the sort of phase that kids do when they're in their like late teens, early 20s. They've just started in the gym. They've said all you need to eat is chicken, rice, and veg, and that's it. You'll get massive. And they start doing that, and they do it for a couple of years, maybe. Best case, normally it's a few months, and then they give it up, and then they go on McDonald's diets and all that sort of stuff. And that's because it's boring, and that's literally that. Now I've got a not to bloat myself or anything like that, not to um, float myself too high, but I can do that, and I can do that consistently for a long period of time without getting bored. It just doesn't phase me as much. I don't know if it's willpower. Now, willpower, I'll get into another video. I'm not perfect with that. Like I was a vapor, and it was so hard. It still is hard to not try and vape, etc. But in terms of diet, easy peasy. I can eat chicken, rice, and broccoli every single day. However, I found I was eating that, and I was having 2, maybe 3 of these portions that I carefully, precisely measured out, along with some other bits and bobs like protein shakes twice a day, all these sort of things. And I could not, for the life of me, get my weight up. I was stuck at 80 kilos, and I remember it clear as day because my cousin was on bang on 60 kilos. So he would weigh himself 60 kilos, no matter what happens, he'd have a massive meal, he'd go up past 60, take a shit, go back down to 60. Me the same, 80, you have a big meal, 82, 83, take a shit. And I'm not saying I took a 3 kilo shit, but you take a couple of shits in the day and you're suddenly back to 80. And I literally just could not get past that. And for months, if not years, I was stuck at 80 kilos and I just could not get any bigger. I was getting leaner, don't get me wrong. My muscle was sort of, well, I was getting more muscle, less fat. My body fat percentage probably went down to about 11, maybe 12% at its sort of like the lowest, which on my physique, that was actually, I looked pretty good. It was like skinny, skinny ripped in my head. It wasn't bulk. I want to look like your Henry Cavills. I want to look like Superman, that sense. And it just wasn't happening. I needed to be 100 kg and be 11% body fat, which that's a lot of muscle to pack on, and it just wasn't happening. So I had to sort of go back to the drawing board. Lots of things happened, and for a long time I just forgot about dieting, and I just tried to be good. I tried to have meat. I tried to have a bit of like carbs, but I didn't even see it as carbs. I didn't know what carbs were to a degree. I just completely forgot about that, and I just went, I'm gonna just enjoy my food. If I want a Ben and Jerry's, I'll have a Ben and Jerry's. If I want energy drink, I'll have an energy drink. But I had less energy drinks. I was more health conscious because I've seen those videos that my mum's posted to me, and she's sort of almost started to subliminally sort of put things in my brain that I need to cut that out actually. Or someone at the gym I was speaking to, a random guy, and he'd say, "Oh, you know, this is really bad for you. You shouldn't have that because it's got this, this, this." And it's like, I don't know what he's talking about, but actually that's resonated with me a little bit. Maybe I'll cut that out, and so on and so on. And then you get to sort of like, what, 2 years ago, and I start to really sort of go, shit, I need to sort my diet out. I need to sort my life out. And I mean that in every sense of the way: mental health, physical health, financial, everything. And diet was like my number one where I needed to start. People say, oh, you need to go to the gym more and do this. If you're not putting the right fuel into the car ain't going anywhere regardless. I've got a diesel. If I put petrol in my car, it won't get me to work. I might get 5 minutes down the road if I'm lucky. That's about it. After that, it's going to choke to death, and then I'm going to be swearing my tits off at the side of the road because I put in the green one rather than the black one. Same with food. If you put the wrong food into your body, you are not going to have that energy that you need to do what you want to do. The energy that I've got to be able to start doing these YouTube videos and to start having the productivity power within my body to do these things is ridiculous, and it comes from my diets. Now, the first in this new reformed Jamie diet was the carnivore diet. Now, I know it was like a trending thing again, but I wasn't looking at it in a trending. I didn't see loads of people saying this, this, this. It was a couple of niche people were saying this, that, and the other. So I think Jordan Peterson was one of the first people I watched who was talking about it, and he was talking about specifically about his daughter who had an autoimmune disease, and she found the only thing that helped her autoimmune disease was the carnivore diet. Now, I don't have an autoimmune disease at all. I'm very lucky in that sense. But what she and Jordan were saying was eye-opening in the sense of, wait, it does what? It does what to your body? Like, that can't be right. It gives you like these magical powers effectively. It didn't make sense in my head. And there must have been like, are they being, I don't know, are they being paid by the meat industry to sort of like promote this? Who knows? But I thought, I'll give it a go, see what happens. I did 9 weeks, and I mean 9 solid weeks of the carnivore diet, and I did not falter once, not once. I remember sitting at a work do in Las Iguanas, the restaurant. There was what, 20 of us, 25 of us sitting at a table. Everybody, starter, main, dessert, Pepsis, drinks, cocktails, all that sort of stuff, all provided by work. And I had my sparkling water, and that was it. No food at all, because they couldn't provide me what I needed to make sure it was definitely going to be just meat. And I didn't really want to pay 18 quid and they're going to bring out like a tiny little sliver of meat that's got no sauce on it because they couldn't guarantee everything else didn't have sauce on it and stuff like that. So I just said, nope, it's fine, it's all good. You can spend my money else, like you have more drinks, whatever. And I just had my bottle of sparkling water. And this is the biggest thing that people sort of like end up faulting on their diets: the willpower, the people around them, the peer pressure. I had every single person at that table all looking at me going, are you sure? Just eat something. Oh, come on, just eat something. One day ain't going to hurt. This, that, and the other. Nope, it's fine. I'm all good. I'm all good. I don't need to. And I didn't. And I stuck to it. And it's the best thing I've ever done. Like, to me, that sense of achievement that I persevered through 9 weeks of that, and it wasn't even persevering at the end. At the end of it, I was, you know what, I was enjoying this. Now, don't get me wrong, when you start the carnivore diet and you start these strict diets, your body goes through a bit of a shock. Like, I'm talking, well, to be blunt, you fart, you shit on the sofa, that sort of thing. That's the sort of level we're getting at, which is not ideal, but you get through that little phase, that little bumpy bit of the beginning, and you're good. It's just that first bit, your body goes, I don't know what's going on. Just don't trust fat. Biggest bit of advice: if you start a new diet and you are strict with it, and you go on this extreme diet, never trust the fat. I might be sharing too much, but words of warning. Take anything from this lesson. That's the one thing you should take. From that, I then started to incorporate fasting. So we've done the carnivore. I'm really happy with that. Started introducing carbs again, but I'm eating less carbs because I don't want carbs. I found I've got like a really dry skin condition whereby, and I inherited it from my dad, but I just randomly, I'll have a shower and it will just be a shower, no soap, no nothing. And I'll get out the shower and my skin's like all like sort of patchy, very dry, and I've got to oil it. I'll try moisturizer, just that inflames it, and then I get red patches everywhere. I've gone the amount of time I've gone to work and I've had like so much red, sort of like inflamed skin all around my face, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. My dad's gone to the doctors millions of times. They've said, no, we don't know what it is. Try this, try that. Oh, apparently it's aqua in the moisturising cream that's affecting it, and so on and so on. So use oil based. Okay, tried that. Still not really doing anything. It's just covering up. It's not actually solving the issue. But during the carnivore diet, skin was perfect. Like absolutely perfect. Again, this is just my experience. I have no scientific like documents to say this is what actually happened and this is a study and comparing it to this. None of that. I just know that before I went on carnivore, skin issues. During carnivore, skin was silky smooth, was absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Not a single thing. I grew my beard out. I didn't get itchiness. I didn't get like beard rash or anything like that. And I wasn't even oiling at this point. It was just my skin was so good and I felt so energetic. I couldn't lift as much in the gym because I was like eating less and I didn't have the sort of like the carb power behind me to sort of like get through big workouts. But I was going to the gym and I was doing so well and I was losing fat so quickly because when you're in the carnivore diet, you use the fat that's in your body as the energy levels, as your energy for the gym and for living and doing all that sort of stuff. So where you would normally get carbs, turn that into energy and that would be it. I was using the fat in my body and that was the biggest thing. And you can't obviously feel it, but I was kind of feeling it and it was great. And I was just loving that. So from that, what I then did was low carb diets. I always used to call them carnivore-ish diets. And it was, I'm eating a lot of meat, chicken, steaks. Steaks was like king, but I was adding a bit of carbs. So I'd have the odd roast dinner, but it would be no Yorkshire, just roast potatoes. It will be and add some veg and stuff. It'll be having an omelette, but having, I don't know, some like hash browns or something like that. It was little things like that. I was starting to introduce carbs back in. Now again, when you go back from carnivore to eating carbs, same bit of advice, don't trust the fat. Simple as, because your body just goes through a whole complete shock. Even a little bit, it's crazy. So after that, I started going, right, I'll add carbs back in, and I slowly built the carbs back up. Skin started to go a bit bad again, so I was like, oh, drop the carbs down again. And I was just playing with that line. Just keep up the carbs, down the carbs. Have some sugar, like at Ben & Jerry's, trick myself, because I'm not doing a strict diet anymore. Oh, I feel really shit the next day, so on and so on. And I started doing this all the way through. And I had people like my dad telling me, you're an idiot, you're going to hurt yourself. Extreme diets are really dangerous. You just need to have a balance. Right, but I've proven this diet works for me. Carnivore is working for me. The only thing is, from a real person point of view, it's so expensive. Like I've tried doing the Aldi sort of like trying to shop as little as possible and making sure it's all cheap and good stuff and good quality. Now, most people out there will tell you if you're going to do the carnivore diet, whole foods, like grass-fed this, like all these different things. It is so hard to do that on a tight budget when you're in an IVA and you've got no money and you've got a girlfriend, you've got to try and feed normal food and stuff like that. It goes out the window. So it was a case of, how do I do this? How do I restrict the amount of money I'm spending on my diets while still doing my diet, stuff like that? And that's where I found fasting. And that's where I really went into fasting. Now, I tried fasting before, but I found it so difficult. And that's because I was eating sugar. I was having 3 or 4 sugars in my tea every day. I was having Ben and Jerry's, and when those sugar cravings come back to bite you in the ass, fasting is one of the hardest things. You can have all the willpower in the world, you are unhappy. You are a sad, sad bastard. So what I did was I started to really sort of drop my sugar levels, and doing that while fasting, fasting became a breeze. And to the point where I still do it today, and I don't even think about it anymore. So when I do my 10-hour shifts at work, and it doesn't matter what shift I'm on, my 10 hours I don't eat. So that's a 10-hour fast, and that could be in the middle of the day. It could be I had a meal at, let's say, 8, 9 o'clock in the evening the night before. I wake up, don't have anything, a glass of water with some electrolytes in it. I go to work, do a 10-hour shift, get home, and then I wait a couple of hours and then eat dinner with my partner, and then we have dinner. So I've not eaten for however many hours that is. Like, it's getting on 16, nearly 20 hours sometimes. I've done 24-hour fasts, and it's been brilliant. My record is I've done a 3-day fast. I built myself up to it. I was doing intermittent fasting for weeks, months, just constantly, and I was like, you know what, this is easy. Then I started to do like, right, I'll do a 24-hour fast. Did 24 hours. Piece of piss. Great. Felt great. You do feel hungry at one point or not. Like, you sort of have to sort of like give it 10 minutes and it'll pass. Oh, before you know it, it's gone. And you're like, happy days. Then you start eating again. You have to, again, when you come out of these fasts, it's crucial what the food that you put back into your body. It's crucial. You are careful with what you put back in there. You suddenly have a cup of tea and I don't know, some biscuits and stuff. You're going to be you're not going to have a good time. So I did this, the 24-hour fast, then I did a 48-hour, and then I did 72 hours. And I did 72 hours. I think it was just over 72 hours. And I went to, like on my last day, I had to drop my brother off at the airport. So I went all the way from Northampton to Gatwick Airport, like whatever that drive is, 2-3 hour drive. On the way back, we stopped off at a service station. And one of these service stations, one of these big ones near Gatwick, it's like a food hall. So you walk in there, boom, you're hit with smell of food. And my God, when you've not eaten for 72 hours and the first thing you smell is like noodles, KFC, McDonald's, you can smell, I was like Daredevil, I could smell every single ingredient in that place. And it was gorgeous. The smell of it, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to cave. And I didn't. My partner got some sandwiches from M&S, happy days. Got a black coffee because I can have a black coffee. And then, yeah, went on my mosey way, got home, and then the next morning was when I could eat, and that's when I started eating again. And again, you have to be so careful. The longer you do your fast, the more careful, the more and more careful you've got to be with what food you reintroduce back into your body. So for me, I had like bone broth, and even that made my stomach go a little bit, oh no, this ain't good, and you have to sort of like brace for impact sort of thing. So doing your fasts teaches you so much, and I can't recommend it enough. There's so many people out there that I see that are obese, or they're drinking all these different things and they're doing this, that, and the other. All I would say to them is just try fasting. Keep the diet exactly how you're doing it and try fasting. You'll find that if you're a high sugar diet, you will struggle with the fasting, and that might be an eye opener to go, maybe I need to cut my sugar down a little bit. If you can cut your sugar down significantly to almost where it's none, then try fasting, you will find so many benefits from fasting. And I promise that. Like, I promise. Now, people will say, oh, I fast anyway because my shifts are all unsociable and I end up not eating some of that. But do you actually fast? My brother will say he fasts, but he doesn't. He'll go to Tesco's and buy the £2 ping meal, and he'll have that. And because it's such a small meal, he'll think that didn't really count, and he's fasted. But he hasn't fasted. He's reset the fasting clock, had that, his insulin spiked, and then he's effectively started fasting again, but it's taken a while for it to do it again. And then he's hungry again, and then he eats a little bit again, or eats a biscuit, or he has a cup of tea, and it's like all these things stop your fast. I mean a full fast where you only drink water or black coffee or black tea. Like, that's it. Now, some people go even harder and they don't even have any of that. I'm not doing that. I will happily have water, black coffee, and black tea. And it's great. Now, at the moment, I do intermittent fasting, but I do cheat a little bit. With my teas at work, I do have a splash of milk, and I mean a splash of milk. So that technically breaks my fast, but I'm having so little in terms of calories going in my body, insulin spikes, anything like that. It's ridiculous. And my blood works, they show this. Like fasting has been shown to like reduce inflammation. The carnivore diet reduces inflammation. Keto reduces inflammation, and keto is effectively what I do. I do a very low carb diet, lots of meat, and I fast alongside that. And that is just my standard now. I don't even have to think of it. I don't have to plan it out. I don't do anything like that. I just know on my days off, I might will have a 6 egg omelette because I want as much protein as possible. It keeps me full, and I might not eat again until 6, 7 o'clock in the evening. And it's just because I'm not hungry. And it is because I've trained my body that I don't need food. I don't need snacks. Don't get me wrong. There will be times when I go, I'm going to have some snack. I'll have a biscuit and I will cheat and I'll have chocolate and stuff like that. We've got Easter coming up. I'm probably going to have some chocolate. It's going to be right there. I'm going to have some. But the key thing is the consistency is I'm having no sugar or very little sugar, and I'm having low carbs or no carbs. And that's the key thing I can try and sort of get to people's brains is reduce the amount of carbs, see how you feel, watch the weight fall off. Now do it safely. I'm not going to put like a plan out there or anything like that. Do your own research, but as a real person who is trying to work out at the gym, trying to get big, trying to get lean, not get fat, have energy levels, be productive. I want my brain to be functioning as in top gear. The biggest thing I can say is try and reduce your carbs, drop that sugar, and then try intermittent fasting. And that is my three big takeaways from this. Those three things. Try those. Try them in any sort of way you can. See how you feel, and try and do it consistently. Don't do it for a couple of weeks and then go, I don't see the benefits. Do it for, I'm talking 6 months minimum. See how you feel. I think you'll love it. I genuinely do. I think the majority of people out there will love it. It's hard to start with, and the people around you are going to call you an idiot, and they're going to push sugar on you, and they're going to push this diet on you. Stay strong, and you'll learn so much about yourself massively. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let's catch you on the next one.